Hello everyone. Long ago the circus was considered something amazing and even a little frightening among the inhabitants of the planet. But what is our amazing digital circus? In this video we will try to find out the whole scary truth about what happens in this circus, because so many things seem really strange, and also find out who invented and runs this circus. Be sure to watch this video to the end, because after understanding the whole essence of the video, the ending will not only surprise you, but will plunge you into a real shock. In the beginning, we are made to understand that this circus is a very happy and positive place, but unfortunately our main character Pomni does not think so. From the very beginning, she begins to behave very strangely, which means that in the digital circus, Pomni came by accident. At the same time, the other characters look quite calm, which suggests that they have long since gotten used to everything and accepted the fact that their lifelong habitat will be this circus. Pomni immediately tried to remove some kind of virtual reality device from her head, which we'll call a VR helmet for the sake of simplicity. However, all of her attempts were unsuccessful, because it's obvious to everyone that she doesn't have a helmet on her head. But she doesn't know that yet. Some make jokes about it and some try to calm her down. I think from this point on, it's obvious to everyone that all the characters in Amazing Digital Circus are wearing VR helmets. It's just not known if it was the same helmet or if each character had a different one. And this question is the key question of the whole video. We were immediately introduced to the manager of the circus, Caine. Although it might seem to many people that his job is to entertain the guests of the circus and make sure that nothing happens to them, because he has a lot of eyes for that. But unfortunately, Caine does not do that at all. And that's what we're going to talk about now. At first glance, he seems to be a very nice guy, but if you take a closer look, you can easily see that his every action is aimed at making sure that no one escapes or even tries to leave the circus. You only have to remember how he behaved in those moments when Pomni started talking about an exit. He would immediately get nervous and try to convince everyone that Pomni was just crazy and didn't know what she was talking about, also covering up everything that was going on here with fictional digital hallucinations. And he also starts to either take offense or figure out how to proceed, which is also very surprising. It's long been known that KB himself and his personal assistant Bubble are artificial intelligence, while everyone else is human. These people were once just having fun playing with their VR helmet, but at some point something went wrong, and that's when their minds were transported into an amazing digital circus. Let's also think about the mannequins that never appear in the circus itself, but at the same time there are a lot of them in a restaurant where all the characters, except for the Caine, never enter. In this case, all these dummies are nothing more than artificial intelligence created for one purpose only, which I will tell you about a little later because the time has not yet come. Also very strange is the fact that none of these characters need to eat or sleep. None of them even needs a toilet, and all the beds or food are just an imitation of the fact that their lives are the same as in real life, and the only thing that has changed is the place where they are staying. Also, none of the heroes have the right or simply can't, and there is a possibility that they don't even know how to get out of the circus. Their whole lives revolve around this unfortunate place. So they are all in a cage that will either make you play by its rules or destroy you, as happened to Kaufmo. In the end, this character is the key to unraveling everything that is going on in the circus, and all the inhabitants are oblivious to it. Didn't you find it strange that Caine bragged to Pomni that he has hundreds of eyes, thanks to which he knows everything that happens not only in the circus itself and its territory, but also to all the inhabitants of the Amazing Digital Circus? But why didn't he come to the aid of Kaufmo when he was really suffering from his paranoia, or put him in the basement when Kaufmo dissipated and turned into a creepy monster? Think about it, and the answer to the main question of the video will come to you faster than this video ends. But most importantly, don't forget the VR helmet from the beginning of our video. All this situation describes the fact that Caine is absolutely indifferent to what happens to the inhabitants of the circus. His main task is only to make sure that no one can leave the circus and return to reality. After all, remember how he immediately received a message that Pomni had fallen into the void, and he teleported to her at the same second to get her out of there. And at the very beginning he told Pomni that no one ever gets into the void, and that he himself has no idea what happens there. But then why exactly are there notifications on the void in case of penetration? Also remember that Pomni changed her face as soon as she entered the void, as if she didn't exist at all. This all proves that the void is the exit from this digital space. The Caine has been eliminated, but there's also Pomni, who knows more than anyone else, and also knows what the Caine thinks no one should know. I'm talking about the door labeled exit. Every time Pomni started to think about how to get out of the circus, her mind started to malfunction more and she became more and more mentally unwell. It's also strange that every time she has a panic attack, Pomni starts trying to take off the very VR helmet that got her into this amazing digital circus in the first place. While Pomni panics and tries to find a way out of this circus, and Caine does his best to hide the truth, the rest of the characters live quite comfortably in the digital circus. Let's talk about some of them. Ragatha has long since accepted her fate to spend the rest of her life in this circus, and she just wants to help all those who were there for the first time and don't understand what happened to them. Gangle and Zubul didn't appear in the show, so we can't say anything about them. But Jax deserves a special mention. He always acts very arrogant towards everyone else, which is quite strange because he also understands everything, but he wants to make the lives of the other characters even crueler than they already are. Maybe Jax is some kind of Caine's assistant whose job it is to make all the characters' time at the circus worse. Maybe he even does it for some kind of reward, like the fact that Caine will let him out of the circus one day. And the most revealing character of all is Kinger. According to the other characters, Kinger has been in the Amazing Digital Circus the longest, which makes him the most knowledgeable about what the damn circus is hiding underneath. It's unlikely that Kinger has been so scared and very strange all his life. I'm sure that because of the number of years he's lived and the number of horrors he's seen, his mental state has gotten worse and worse, and at some point his brain has malfunctioned, and in the end we see just such a Kinger. It is unlikely that if this circus were as joyful and beautiful as Caine described it to us, its inhabitants would want to escape it or become like Kinger. There are also a lot of questions raised by the characters who are no longer in the circus, but who once lived there. The fact that Kinger lived in the Digital Circus for a very long time makes it clear that the characters don't have a certain number of days or years in which they have the right to live in the circus. That is, they are missing or scattered. What does it even mean to be scattered? Why do the characters turn into a monster with many eyes but no mouth? And now for the most shocking part of our video. The whole Amazing Digital Circus is just an illusion created by an evil, but now technically gifted genius. Remember the question about the VR helmet? I'm 100% sure that everyone in the circus wore the same helmet, so they knew each other in the real world. But in the circus itself, none of the people in the circus know each other. I think it's not a question of familiarity, it's a question of memory. They just don't remember each other, because there's a reason why there's a restaurant with mannequins. Each mannequin is an artificial intelligence that, in the future, will use a code to capture the soul of a real person and transfer it to digital space. But the character's image depends on what he or she has just played. And in order to torture and as long as possible to keep the inhabitants of Amazing Digital Circus was just developed Caine. But what if none of the above were true? And in fact, Amazing Digital Circus is really a cheerful place, where those people who do not exist in real time, and the VR helmet is the latest development, which helps people to transfer their consciousness to the digital space, which in this case, according to the idea of the creators, is a circus. After an accident, the helmet is put on a person's head and they enter the digital circus. And Caine is actually their guardian, and in this case, he doesn't let them out. Not because he wants to mock them, but just to prevent them from realizing the terrible reality that happened to the person in the real world. This is exactly why you need to look at the digital circus from multiple angles, to be sure you are on the side of truth. These are the theories that popped into my head while watching the Amazing Digital Circus. I hope you enjoyed this video. These are the theories that popped into my head while watching the Amazing Digital Circus. I hope you enjoyed this video. New video on the channel as usual day after tomorrow. See you then.